Hello, Brain Trust. It's me, Ben Glebe. Alyssa Milano is my guest today. The great Alyssa Milano. You know her from Who's the Boss and then a million other things over the course of her life because she was a kid then. She'll be here shortly. We discussed so much. I just recorded the interview, the conversation with her. Not really an interview. I don't consider them interviews. I consider them just hangs. You know what I mean? Why did I say hang so weird? I don't know. The point is, she's fantastic. It was fun and a little bit funny, but also very interesting and engaging. And I asked her some personal questions that you may have not heard her speak about before. And we talk some politics, a lot of politics, and we talk about just the journey that is life and our current place in the world. Plus, of course, Twitter answers and the Thunder Round. Very interesting question, I think, this week on the Twitter answers. But before we get to all of that, of course, we always start with the biggest story of the week. Shocking news. Joe Biden got a Rolex? The fuck is this? The fuck is that kind of move? How are you going to be relatable, bro? This is the big controversy now that the Republicans are trying to start. This at least feels somewhat like normal life again, where we have a normal president who's a decent human trying to make things better, and the Republicans are immediately trying to find scandals in every damn thing possible. He's got a nice watch. The man's 164 years old. He doesn't deserve a good watch. He's the president. He can have a good watch. Are you really making claims, as they actually really are, that he's unrelatable now because he has a fancy watch? Your last president owned towers and golden toilets and fake robot wives and all kinds of elaborate stuff. Steak companies. I mean, come on. You're really making the argument that he can't have a watch. Since we last gathered, we have a new president, by the way. It's the guy with the watch scandal, huge breaking watch scandal. Joe Biden has been inaugurated. It was a beautiful ceremony. Despite there being no people there, it was still the biggest crowd in inauguration history. That's a fact. That we do know. Definitely bigger than Trump's. God, it was so great not having him on Twitter. We talk about that with Alyssa in a moment. It was just beautiful. It was nice. It was normal. J-Lo sang. Katy Perry sang at the party that night. There was a bunch of fireworks. She sang her song, obviously, that she's known for, that relates to that, which is California Girls Licking Popsicle. It will lick your popsicle. They'll melt your popsicle. I don't really know how the song goes, but I do know it involves popsicles and fireworks. My Katy Perry knowledge is lacking, and it could be better. I found an irony this week that all of the people who protest wearing masks, who then stormed our Capitol because masks take away your freedom, many of them are now in jail. And because they didn't wear a mask, they lost their freedom because we could easily identify them. Isn't that nice? If they'd worn a mask, they could have prevented themselves from being in jail. Oh, and also stopped the spread of this insane pandemic. So keep that in mind. You might end up in jail. So actually, specifically, we could say that not wearing a mask takes away your freedom in many instances. We got to reverse the psychology on these people who don't understand what science is. Science is a good thing. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's a thing that I've been aware of for a very long time, and I believe in it on account of the scientific method and evidence and all that good stuff. Trump was impeached again, of course, right before, a couple weeks before Biden got about 1 week before Biden got in office. And his trial's coming up. We'll talk about that with Alyssa as well. Double impeachment. The only president in history to have that experience. So good for you, buddy. You're really standing out as a real go-getter if the thing you're going to get is impeachments. So what a maroon. 10 Republicans voted for it, by the way, which is fantastic. Finally, some Republicans, 197 in the House voted against it, but 10 voted for it. Last time, 0 voted for it. So that's progress. That's marginal, slow, glacial speed progress, but I'll take it. I also just had a realization that I wanted to share this week is that really anybody who's still supporting Trump, you are a white supremacist pretty much for sure. Because look at what you stand for and what you don't stand for. Look at it under just the prism of police. When Black Lives Matter had this huge moment during this crazy quarantined year, And we were all protesting in the streets just to acknowledge that black people matter, that their lives matter. And people spring up, as they have along the whole BLM movement, saying, blue lives are what matter. Blue lives, police lives are what matter. All lives matter or police lives matter. Just can't say black lives matter. But they're so all about the police. Well, are they though? Because your own people, mostly white, not believing in Black Lives Matter, not believing in fact, science, or law, or common sense, stormed the Capitol, and they killed a police officer, incredibly tragically. Where were the protests about that? Where were all of you Trumpers taking to the streets saying blue lives matter? If that's a hard and fast rule with your American flag with a blue stripe on it, if that's what you truly care about, these blue lives, one of your own killed police. Did you turn on them? Did you turn on QAnon? Did you turn on those factions? Did you turn on those rioters? Did you say, this is no longer a movement I'm associated with? No, you were quiet. You were silent. Sure, maybe privately or when asked, you said, oh, how terrible what happened at the Capitol. But you didn't march about it. How much do those lives matter to you? They don't. So when you say blue lives matter in response to Black Lives Matter, it just proves all you mean is you don't think Black lives matter. That means you're a racist. That means you're a white supremacist. It means you think you're better than other people. And you're not. You're obviously empirically far worse on account of you don't think humans are the same. So go fuck yourself. There's that. I mean, the stakes are very real here. It's why I get frustrated about it. If they weren't real, if I was getting frustrated about imaginary stakes, sure, that would be silly of me. And by the way, now I'm hungry for steaks. It's a side note. I ordered in Outback Steakhouse last night, and the steaks were amazing. Had to reheat them. The bloomin' onion didn't reheat as well. Popped in the air fryer, came back to life. I digress, and I didn't need to share any of that, but I like to share my life, the personal struggles I go through. I try to infuse humor, obviously, because I'm a comedian, first of all, and secondly, because we need it to get through these crazy times, because the stakes of this is very, very real. We get into it in great detail with Alyssa in a little bit, but I mean, there was even a plot to assassinate members of Congress ahead of Biden's inauguration that, thank God, didn't come true. But there were plots also for attacks on all 50 of our state capitals. Thankfully, were thwarted and were reported, and so therefore they didn't happen. But they could have. This is the kind of, we don't hear this kind of chatter normally. Normally aren't threats to encircle all of our lawmakers in Washington so they can't escape and assassinate them. And that's what gets unleashed when you don't have hard lines in the sand. So if I may just take a minute to speak on this issue before I bring on my guest, and also have some shout outs to our fantastic supporters on Patreon in a moment too. But when society loses its values, it ceases to make sense. And then nothing but chaos can ensue, which is why we must right now nuke the filibuster, get rid of all big money in politics, finally, all of it, and throw out any seditionists who knowingly and in bad faith undermined our free and fair elections and actively sowed insurrection against our government. Sedition, it's arguably treason as well, as what happened certainly gave comfort to our enemies. These crimes, FYI, if you are aware of how crimes work, are punishable by never serving in office again, jail time up to 20 years, and oh, FYI, we hang people for treason. That's not bold to say even. That's just in our Constitution and United States Code of Law. 18 U.S. Code, chapters 2381 to 2384. It's in black and white. And at the very obvious least, we get these people the fuck out of our government. Now, the people that supported this, no more two sets of rules, one for the rich and powerful who actually cause almost all of the big problems, and one for the rest of us. No more of that shit. You cannot you cannot logically call the insurrectionists terrorists, but not see their leaders and instigators as terrorists also. Bin Laden himself didn't fly the planes, but he was responsible for 9/11. Trump himself didn't break the windows or kill a police officer with a fire extinguisher, but he is responsible for 1/6. And Cruz, Hawley, Green, Gohmert, Boebert, and all these other ridiculous names were accomplices. Boebert tweeted out Pelosi's movements during the attack on our Capitol, even after being told not to tell anybody of the whereabouts of our lawmakers, and tweeted that morning before that, today is 1776. That's literally calling for a violent revolution against our government. And to the coward Democrats, what else do you need? To step up finally, strongly, boldly, aggressively. Schumer, Pelosi, call things plainly and strongly what they are and punish them as such. These are not equally valid sides. People actively trying to upend our society based on conspiracy theories and a reckless grab for power no longer should be treated as colleagues or even as Americans. They are traitors. Enough is enough. President Biden, if you want unity, unite our nation behind the great, obvious, and necessary cause of us collectively, together, standing against those who wish to see our undoing. That one should be easy. We are running out of time to put our foot in, to put our foot down and stand for what is right and firmly against what is wrong. So look at your fancy watch and see the seconds ticking away. This is no joke. The more important people to crack down on and root out are not the foot soldiers of the attack on our democracy, but the organizers, obviously, the inciters, those who made the call to action. And clearly they are far more guilty than some who just got swept through the open doors, as opposed to those who had more of a plan and a nefarious purpose to go in there and kidnap lawmakers and kill lawmakers and hang Mike Pence, as they shouted. Both are crimes, but the difference in scale is immense, and you know that. The organizers are far more responsible. McConnell, this is your chance to purge the thorns in your side as well of Trump, Cruz, and other extremists who get in the way of your priorities too. Take these fools out. Congress being broken is bad enough, but I will not stand by and watch you render our Constitution meaningless. Those who aided and abetted a bloody and violent coup attempt must plain and simple be treated as our Constitution dictates, or the document becomes meaningless, and you can never again claim to care about it. What kind of nation are we? What kind of people are we? This is your moment of truth. Did you stand up for the fabric of our democracy, or did you hide from the moment like a coward? Make your legacy now. The Bachelor is a shit show this season. My goodness. Queen Victoria, you thought that was as crazy as it was going to get? This woman calling herself a queen and saying in a very drunk, strange, seemingly drugged that way, I'm going to marry him. I'm the queen. He'll be my king. You thought that was it. But this week, Sarah caused quite a lot of drama. If you haven't figured it out, The Bachelor is one of my few escapes into escapism these days. Sarah really had a good connection with The Bachelor, whose name I can't remember right now. Peter, maybe? Thomas? Nobody cares. But she couldn't handle seeing him on dates with other girls. She interrupted several of them, which made them very angry. Queen got mad. Queen was like, that's my move. And Sarah left the show. Left the show. Good for her for standing up for what she believes in, which is her man she likes not making out to everybody else in the world. So you got to respect that. Alyssa Milano in 2 minutes, but quick. First, some shout outs to the incredibly generous patrons who have been supporting this podcast and the Glebe Off the Top shows and all the things I've been doing by supporting me at patreon.com/Ben Glebe. Mayor Emeritus Jessica Mad Mama Keibel, the Lindsey Brown Band, Michelle and Alex Pat Zajac, Pat Sajak, maybe a better way to say that. Michelle and Alex Pat Sajak, Becky, Becca, Linwood, Warden, Creek Bree, Brianna, Bafford, Mobile, Brian Slinky Slivka, Courtney Thorne Smith from Melrose Place, and according to Jim, that's her name according to Jim, Mayor Emeritus Debs Lettuce Summoner Livingston, Gabrielle Mad Magazine Mag, or Gabrielle Magazine Cover Mag. Take your pick. I like to kind of give you options sometimes, Gabrielle. Jeanette Indeed Majid, John Wayne Duggan, Caitlin Greer, that saved Christmas. Kayla, you got me on my knees, Gibson Guitars. Vincent, Bowie Tie, Pasta Primavera. Susie, Figgy Pudding, but actually tasty figgy pudding. Fig. Shannon, Pumpkin, Burke Aquarium. And of course, Rita, Riri, O'Donnell. Thank you all for your support. It means so much. If any of you would like to join the group that is supporting all the things I've been doing and bringing to you, I give you a ton of great perks, free tickets to some of my shows, access to my VIP meet and greets after they happen, live access to them, special VIP video hangs with our patrons, one-on-one video chats, depending on what tier you're at. You can get letters personally signed from me, a Glebe Squad official Brain Trust membership card, super dope. The design is almost finished, new logo almost finished, a ton of cool stuff. There's even a tier where I fly to you and perform live stand-up for you or give you virtual shows. Only one of those left at that tier. A lot of good stuff at patreon.com/Ben Glebe. And coming up every Saturday is my Glebe Off the Top crowd work and improvised madness show. I've been doing it weekly now. I'll keep doing that. It's an absolute blast. We elect a mayor every time. That's why you heard about 2 former mayors right there in my shout outs. It's an absolutely weird, wild, fun, loose, light time. So if you need some laughter, devoid of politics, this podcast is where I break down the week in a serious / obviously incredibly funny way. We all know that. But then we just let it loose on the weekends, on Saturdays, and do the show. Tickets at nowheretime.com. I also doing my first headline set of my hour that I'll be touring with when life opens back up. Some of the stuff I already had that I've been honing in different ways, and a ton of new material I've been writing. I'm doing a bunch of sets, popping into different shows to get it ready for February 26th. Tickets also available there. And lastly, I will be doing a special Valentine's Day show at Nowhere Comedy Club on Zoom virtually called Undercover Lover. I'll be hosting a kind of a twist on the old dating game concept where you don't see or know who you're talking to because it's face filters of suitors trying to gain your attention. Will there be a Queen Victoria? Will there be a Sarah? Who knows? But you can participate, either watch the fun go down, or you can be a contestant by emailing undercoverlover.show@gmail.com, and we will send you the questionnaire and request for a video, or you can just come and enjoy the madness. Tickets at nowheretime.com. On that note, it's time for my guest, whose Twitter handle, if you want to tweet along with us, is at Alyssa, ALYSSA _Milano, MILANO. Alyssa Milano, you know, is an actress, producer, activist, and former singer. I didn't even know that fact. She's known for her roles as Samantha Michelli in the classic Who's the Boss?, Jennifer Mancini in Melrose Place, Phoebe Halliwell in Charmed, Billy Cunningham in My Name is Earl, Savannah Savvy Davis in Mistresses, Renata Murphy in Wet Hot American Summer 10 years later, and Coralie Armstrong in Insatiable on Netflix. Plus, of course, tons of movies. And as a political activist, she has been involved heavily in more causes than you can count. She also executive produced the Telethon for America with me this year. And maybe most notably, she produced and starred in a teen workout video called Teen Steam. So without further ado, I think I already said further ado already, and I did some more adoing, but now the adoing is done. Alyssa Milano. Now let me check in with y'all and say hi with these comments here. Please subscribe to Last Week on Earth, rate it and review it if you can. Apple Podcasts, or hey, Glebe, my next wife who doesn't know it yet. What's up, Frankie? Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can subscribe. Wherever you get your podcasts, please subscribe. Hi, Jennifer. Glad you liked the interview with Alyssa Shannon. I'm so sorry to hear that, Shannon. So sorry. I hope your cat is okay. I hope you can make it this Saturday. If you weren't able to use it and your cat was sick, just email me, or email the club rather, and say that I said I can take care of you on this one, because I'm so sorry that your cat is messed up, but hopefully a lot better. What else we got here? I said Rolex, not Rolodex, but that's cool. Betty, I already said I hope her cat's better. You can't also say that. I guess you can, but whatever. I feel like it's time for some no context hashtags. What? Okay. Thanks, Megan. Meg Begley Jr. And orange and peach maroon. No doubt about that. What else? A lot of comments here. Thanks, guys. Stephanie Walters, Glebe Nation, for sure. The term you coined. Thank you so much for that. I'm glad it showed up in your recommendations, Toby. Hopefully you enjoy what you're listening to. Yep. I review the week on my podcast, and then I have guests join me sometimes. And sometimes it's funnier than other times. We had some serious shit to say right now, And, oh, shit. Hi, Lindsay. True that. I'm 10 minutes late for our Zoom. My apologies. I will send you the link right now. Jackie, you're fired again. You're fired again. I'm muted, right? So sorry, Lindsay. I will send you in Patreon the link to the Zoom right now. What are you saying here? Oh, great. Awesome. Can we do it at 4:30 so I can eat my first bite of food at 4:10 p.m.? 4:30 cool with you? Let me know if that's cool, and I'll send you the link right now, and then we'll hop on at 4:30. Excellent. On that note, I got to go eat me some food. Thank you. My grandmother made that map, piece of art with all these individual little beads and all of the orange countries or places that my family lived. So there's that. All right, good and great. I will see you all very soon. Please download, listen to the podcast when it comes out in its entirety. Please spread the word. And I hope to see you at Glebe Off the Top this Saturday and at SDSC tomorrow. All right, cool. Bye.